So Dr. Arturo Lizano, tell me, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, Michael, how you doing? I'm a practicing medical function and regenerative medicine MD here in San Jose, Costa Rica.
What does regenerative medicine mean?
So, in a nutshell, regenerative and functional medicine is also known as integrative medicine. So it's really, in easy words, it's an integrative approach towards addressing the root cause of our patients' issues. So, you want to pay attention to many variables that work in favor or against our patient's health. So it has to do a lot of wellness, preventive medicine, being proactive, and it's really neat stuff.
So does nutrition play a role in that?
Without a doubt. I mean, for me, it's just one of those variables that is non-negotiable. Nutrition has to be definitely part of the conversation, and it has to be part of the treatment plan. You can't help a patient, you can't help anyone if nutrition is not there, or at least if you haven't had that conversation to see if the patient is doing it right or wrong.
Okay, so you discovered the biophotonic scanner. How did you find out about that device?
A good friend of mine, Michael, here in Costa Rica many years ago, I think it's like 8 now, and we met at a health summit here in Costa Rica, and we started talking about regenerative medicine, about anti-aging medicine, about regenerative medicine, about supplements. Just got on the subject, and Michael, he mentioned that he worked with an amazing lab that had an amazing technology that could really help me to improve this part of my conversation with my patients in regards to nutrients. And so I was immediately drawn to it, and 8 years later, here I am still using it in my practice.
So did you believe in the technology right away, or what did you do to validate that?
As an MD, we're stubborn, and we were taught to just go through the science. So sometimes it's a little harder to just believe, at the very beginning. Unfortunately, that's a good thing and a bad thing. And so I decided I needed to, it really caught my attention, but I really needed to see if the science was there. So I started, asking the lab for information, for scientific papers, I just went on the internet and I just started doing some research to see if everything that I was being told was the real deal. And it was, all of it was. So I was very impressed. I was very impressed.
And how did you evaluate the products? The same way, or?
Yeah, well, I started studying the science behind once I was studying the science behind the scanner, I also obviously dove into the science behind the lab, and the company. I really started paying attention to who were their, scientific board, and who they were and what they did and what was their background. And so obviously, it answered a lot of questions, not only about the scanner, about everything that the lab did, and their ethics, and their just how serious they were about everything that they did. And so, once I understood how, their processes and how well everything was done, then once I just started looking over at the supplement line, I didn't really have to do a lot of looking in regards to the quality. then I just started studying, each one by one just to see how they could be of help in my practice. But initially it was about the science, and I was very blown away by all of it.
And what kind of results have you seen with your patients on product, or do you take it? What have you seen for patients that have been using the product?
Well, even when I started with the scanner and the supplements, let's just, for the sake of conversation, let's say that I had already become a believer, but I still needed to do a little bit of field work before I brought it into my clinic. And so I started scanning my family and my friends, and I started putting my family and friends on product. And so I wanted to see, and myself, of course, I was my first guinea pig. I was my first experiment. I started myself, and I to this day have been on supplements, and I use any and every supplement that I think is useful for my metabolism, for my biology, for my health. And so to this day. And then after that, once I felt comfortable and I saw that I was getting good results, and my family was mentioning how much better they felt, and I tested them at the lab, and I tested them with the scanner, and once I was able to prove to myself that this was, don't want to sound arrogant, but that this was worthy of bringing into the office and starting to use with my patients, then I did. And you know it's been amazing ever since. So my patients, it's really hard for them to not say that they're doing better, because the science is there, the quality of the products are there, the science behind the scanner. So and I was so picky and hesitant about the whole thing at the very beginning that I feel I trained myself quite well. And so it's really hard for someone to talk me out of it. It's the conversation is usually not that long, because I have enough information to back up everything I say. So with that said, it's a lot of fun. It's very easy, and actually patients love it. They're actually many are very thankful that I am interested in bringing new stuff into my clinic and into the practice so that I can help them even more. So it's actually been a very, very positive thing in many ways.
That's awesome. So tell me, I know that you waited about 4 years after receiving invitations to go to the healthcare forum at the Innovation Center in Utah, but you went, I believe, in 2018 was the first time. Just summarize quickly what that did for you being out there.
Like I said at the beginning, let's just say that I had already become a believer. But once I went to the lab, and I like to say this proudly, I paid for my own trip. I told myself, you have to go. This is like the last thing. You have to go, and you have to prove to yourself that everything you've studied, everything you're saying, everything you're doing is real. And so I did. I went to the lab, and I was just blown away. I was blown away by the science, by the size, by the immensity, by the technology, by the scientists that I was able to talk to. Very approachable. It's usually really hard to be able to do a one-on-one or just a friendly conversation with scientists or guys that are really high up there, and everyone was very, very friendly and willing to share their stories and information. And so I was just blown away. It was amazing stuff. I know it was that just sealed the deal forever.
That's great. Now, are you planning on returning at some point?
Every year. It's just something that it's a constant reminder of the things that I do and why I do them and why I love to do them. To see that there is one of many labs, but this amazing lab that dedicates so much time and effort into doing things right is very important to me. And to go there and listen to newer science, the beautiful thing about this, one of the many beautiful things about this is, the working on innovation. So, I mean, when you work with innovation, it means that you're always coming up with something new, you're studying something different, something new all the time. So if I don't go back, it's just the information I have from 2018 will become obsolete. And when you work with regenerative medicine, yeah, that can't happen because it's completely contrary to what you're doing. You're innovating, you're talking about all the new trends. And so you have to keep up to date. And so I plan on going every year if that's something that I can do, for sure. Hopefully I can have friends, colleagues, family, and whoever else wants to come with me so that they can see this for themselves as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time this evening, Arturo. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, Michael, hey, thank you for introducing me to this amazing, amazing science. And thank you very much for your time and all your help and your patience. You had a lot of patience with me. So thanks a lot, man. And I hope to see you real soon.
You will. My pleasure.